Hello and welcome back to Marble Puzzle Quest with me, P.I. McLeod, and we're here at day 4043. Staring down the barrel of nothing. MPQ cover coming up. Okay, cool. Yeah, more of the same. Anyways, a lot of stuff has happened in the last, 5 days? 6 days since I last streamed, posted a video, stuff like that. Well, something that's not as short. We have our new season pass here. New Namor of the Phoenix 5 is here. 3-star Namor as well from Marvel Rivals, which I gotta admit, I'm kind of interested in. I know some people like to poo-poo it because, oh, it's just another hero shooter, but you know, if the game is fun, then what does it matter? Are you there to play to have fun, or are you there to just judge something based on originality or not? Just have fun. That's what games are for, right? So yeah, I'm gonna probably try that out at some point, but that's neither here nor here. We're talking about Puzzle Quest. So I'm here to do a Crash the Titans for you today. Talk about the history of the characters involved and what they stand for in the game nowadays, as well as back then when they were introduced. And we'll look at Namor a little bit, just a little bit, because obviously he's kind of, well, big news. He's the last member of the Phoenix 5 that we needed to complete the Phoenix 5, so that's cool. If you don't know what the Phoenix 5, go ahead, look it up on Google. There was a Phoenix 5 comic book series, not like titled then, but it was like Avengers vs. X-Men. There was a whole thing. Just look it up. It's a fun little story arc. I actually did read some of that stuff. It's kind of rare to say that. Anyways, his 5... stuck on the number 5. His 3 powers he has, Imperious Phoenix being one of them here. Only costs 6 black, nice and cheap. It's almost kind of standard nowadays, unfortunately, but it's what it is. It does, an okay nuke, but it does, at level 5, 8% more damage for each of the Emperor's Wrath's passives that it has. And then reduce the Emperor's Wrath by 5. The passive being you gain 1 Emperor Wrath for each tile your team destroys. In other words, he loves cascades. He loves big destruction things. Like anything that can destroy more tiles, the better. Think Black Bolt with his whole screen destroying thing. That's 64 right there. That's a really big deal. Just anything to really just destroy a ton to rage that Emperor's Wrath. But of course, just keep in mind, this only applies this extra damage buff to this one power. Okay, so don't think that this is like the end-all be-all thing. It's just a fun little niche thing you can do. Molten Maelstrom is for 9, so a little expensive by today's standards, but deals some... Okay, let's bump it up to 5. Deals some damage to the enemy team, including airborne enemies, so there's no getting away from this. Unless you're away, but... Anyways, then destroy 3 random columns, and those columns do not deal damage or generate AP. By the way, 3 columns means 24 more tiles. The passive states, for every 5 tiles destroyed by your team, reduce the cost of this ability by 1 to a minimum of 3. And when the ability is fired, increase the cost by 3, max of 9. In other words, it'll never go higher than 9 unless the enemy says so, like with a Peggy Carter sort of ability, something to raise the cost of your abilities. And it never gets lower than 3 because nothing seems to ever get lower than 3 unless you're multiple man, and that's just him. It's a pretty fun looking ability. It gets really cheap because it isn't hard to do a lot of tiles of destruction to lower that price down from 9 down to something more reasonable. A lot of board shake in there. 3 columns. There's only 8 columns in the game. It's a pretty decent amount of board shake for a cheap team damage ability. I can see that being cool. And then finally, Burning Deaths for only 6 green. At level 5, destroy 4 random tiles in each of the bottom 4 rows. So 4 in each of the bottom 4. So, basic math, 4 times 4, that's 16 tiles gone. Adding into the whole black passive ability of his again, right? Those destroyed tiles do not deal damage, or AP, blah, blah, blah. Passive, your team's cascade matches deal 45% increased damage. In other words, he really wants people on his team to be relying on board shake abilities. Things like, oh, I don't know, Mighty Thor. The internet's already thought about it. I mean, it's already kind of big, right? Mighty Thor is a fun teammate for everybody. She's on everyone's list of top meta characters to have. And then Namor comes along and just says, yeah, I'm going to make it worth your while to put her with me. So, pretty big deal. And especially since Namor doesn't care about tanking. Like, if you look at all his abilities, these are just, like, nuke powers. These are just nukers things, okay? So he doesn't have to be in front. He's not demanding any certain space in your roster. When it comes to putting him on a team, he's happy to sit in back and still provide all the services he does. You could have him and Mighty Thor hiding behind Shang-Chi, doing all his cascade match damage BS, and M. Thor is obviously supplying both these guys with everything they want. Cascades, and more board shake, and more matches. Seems like a big deal. We'll talk about the 3-star Namor at some other point, but just wanted to kind of kick it off with that because, of course, we have our events, the Namor Phoenix 5 quest for now. I've only done like one match with them so far, but you know, if you want to get yourself a cover and a half of a 5-star, you got to figure out a way to get those abilities. I'd say wait for the PvP. You could probably just, you know, kill it all then. They give you a loner with 111, so that's a good way to go for it without spending your shards. Anyways, shall we get into it? I think we should. Story. Deadpool Daily. And there we go. There's the 2 powers right down there. Powers. 2 characters. Pfft. Who am I? It looks like we're going against Medusa and Doctor Strange, if I had to guess. I say guess because I'm almost wondering if Clea is involved, but I'm probably right with Doctor Strange. Let's just go there. Okay, first off, Medusa. That's a really weak Medusa. Sometimes we have cheating opponents with 5/5/5, but now we have a Medusa that's underpowered at 1/2/1. So Medusa came into Puzzle Quest a long while back, before Polaris, before certain teams really kicked off the meta, before Kitty, before special tile craziness happened. When Medusa came into the game, Carnage already existed, but people didn't have a lot of faith in Carnage. Carnage puts out those enemy attack tiles as well as friendly ones, and like, what's the point, right? I'm just hurting myself, and it causes extra time for those animations of the tiles to flap to your hit point numbers, right? Well, enter Medusa. She came into the game saying, hey, I'm going to give you a benefit for matching enemy tiles and a benefit for matching friendly tiles. And I'm going to give you a shuffle that lets you steal enemy tiles. I'm going to give you I'm going to put out a countdown that does power damage, which, by the way, if you match it, it breaks into friendly attack tiles. She started helping the attack tile, attack, protects, strike tile meta kind of kick into another gear. Of course, people were putting her with Rocket, so you get those strong strike tiles, boosting her passive ability, the entanglement, and not to mention boosting all those attack tiles out there. She was a big deal at the time. People would put Medusa and Carnage and 4-star Gamora together quite regularly because Medusa would be feeding green AP to Carnage for board shake, purple AP to herself for her board shake, which also stole enemy tiles, and then blue AP to Gamora for a 2-person stun for only 6 blue. It was a really killer team back then, and it was a big deal. Is she meta anymore? No, Polaris took her spot. But she's a great teammate for Polaris. She keeps everyone nice and healthy by matching friendly tiles. She provides extra AP when you match enemy ones. She's not a bad character still to this date. I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't seen more 5-star Medusas floating around in PvP land. I feel like that's kind of a nice shakeup for all the 5-star Polarises out there. But, I don't know. I haven't seen it myself, so maybe it exists. People already tried it and they poo-pooed it. I don't know. Anyways, now she's still good, but at 1/2/1, we're not scared of that, right? We can't be. We'd have to have a really bad character to be scared of this. Who are they going to give us? It's Blade. It could be worse. He's not the best 4-star, but then again, there's a ton of 4-stars, so I guess the bar is negotiable. Let's take off these boosts before we get in there and talk to him, because I don't want to forget that. This modern Blade, 4-star Blade, came into the game, jeez, farther back than Medusa, I think? I'm pretty sure. I remember when he came into the game, the hunger ability, this red passive, came in and it was abused a little bit. I never saw it like really dominate anything, but like for the first month or two it came out, it became something that people would use and abuse. I saw it in a few PvPs myself, and as long as you're able to get up and running, it was something to talk about. The hunger is a 0, it's a passive, let's just call it what it is, right? If there are 8 or more red tiles on the board, he converts a random basic tile to a big old strike tile. It's a pretty decent sized strike tile to get passively at the start of the turn. And when Blade's team reaches 9 or more red AP, the power transforms into Bloodlust, which, here we go, this is the point. Every turn, Blade consumes 1 red AP, and then deals, and that means from your own stock, right? That doesn't mean like a red tile from the board or something like that, right? It just means one of your AP drains away, and deals damage to a random enemy. When Blade's team falls below 7 red AP, the power goes back to being the hunger. Okay, so if you got up to, it says 9 or more, if you got up to 9, it would become Bloodlust. You'd go down to 8, you go down to 7, then at 6 it goes back to hunger. Okay, this ability is pretty good. I mean, it's just passive damage. It's just a one hit of passive damage. Polaris does that nowadays, and we're used to that. It's every turn. Medusa does that with Entanglement, with her tile being out there, which is almost every turn. This is nothing new for current day players, but back then that was a big deal. And of course, if you just kept keeping your red AP afloat, he would do this over and over. And don't forget to add in all your strike tiles that you've built up by now. Back then it was a big deal. Nowadays it's kind of okay, we expect this, right? This is sort of gameplay we expect from this game now. Tools of the Trade is a green team hitter at 9. He deals damage to the entire enemy team. If you have 7 or more red AP, he also uses his fangs, basically healing himself. A little bit of health train, not literally in game sense, but he gets a little bit of health back from it. Not a bad ability. It's just a nice team hit. Has a bonus for healing himself. It's not the strongest team hit out there, especially for the cost. I'm honestly trying to remember why I have it up at 9. I mean, this one at 5. Jeez. And then Supernatural Sense for 11. This is probably why. This costs 11. At level 5, he destroys 10 AP from the enemy team. Strongest color. That's why. Yep, I'm already seeing it. If Blade's team has 7 or more red, then he creates 6 red tiles. Okay, let's break that down a little bit. It's expensive. 11 black is pretty darn expensive for anything nowadays, right? He only destroys 10 AP from the enemy team's strongest color. More often than not, the enemy team has a bunch of AP in their strongest color. They're going to use it. Getting up to 10 plus of their strongest color AP is not likely, because usually they're going to cast it on some sort of ability they have, right? It just doesn't happen like this anymore. If they have that much AP in their strongest color, then it means they're not using it, and so they're not going to miss it. It's not that big of a deal. The 7 or more red AP, then creating 6 red tiles is kind of cool, but to require 11 black to get there, it's not worth it. If you want to create red tiles with your black AP, go to MODOK. So, are we awesomely excited to use this guy? Nah. He might be fun with the strike tile creation. If you're having trouble playing these fights, I highly suggest going for like a low-level AI. That would boost his strike tile offense. And of course, if any of your strike tiles get matched away, then you can compile that strike tile value into other ones Of course, doesn't work with the enemy, but you get that. There's nothing we can do really to boost his red AP, unfortunately. What we can do is put on something that helps him create some, like Shuri's lab over here. At level 150, when I make a red match, there's a 28% chance to gain 2 more red. I mean, that's one way to do it. It's low chance, but still it's something, right? You could also do Chimichanga, which is a 40% chance to gain 2 extra red. Seems a little better, right? Start of the turn, there's a chance to fortify a random special. I mean, this is a level 250 Chimichanga. I'll give you that. But they also gave everyone in the game a level 250 Chimichanga a long time ago. So as long as you have it up, might as well use it. We're going to go through without it, though. We're going to see how doable this is. Unfortunately, Medusa is going to heal when she matches friendly tiles, or her tiles, you know. And she's going to gain AP in one of 3 different colors when she matches enemy tiles, or aka our tiles. It's going to be annoying. It can be. Let's just make sure real quick that our animations are on. It is a one-on-one fight. Yes, they are. Good job. Can't believe I had it on already. Oh, that's right. I was looking at Namor's animations earlier. Oops. Okay. Ready? Let's give it a shot. See what we can do. Ahem. Well, they gave us a match 5 right away. Let's use that. And I'd be remiss if we missed out on a match 4 with a crit. So we want red tiles out there because that's going to allow him to create his strikes, right? There's a conundrum here. So if there are 8 or more red tiles on a board, he converts a random basic tile to a strike tile, right? But if you have 9 or more red AP, then the power turns into bloodlust, which is what you really want. So you got to match away the reds to get your bloodlust up, but you got to leave reds on the screen so you can get your strike tiles. It's not really a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's more like a hashtag first world problems. So it's good on both sides, but you know, just keep it in mind. See, I'm matching it away because I definitely want to get bloodlust running. We need to hit her before she starts healing. I'm going to match this away because, shoot, I want that red AP. But see, she just healed. Well, I healed, I'm sorry. I got green AP from it. Thankfully, she can't use green AP for anything. We're at 11 red now. Here comes her entanglement. She matched her entanglement tile, so she's got some attacks. But it's a little too late. The bloodlust got her. Thankfully, our blade is pretty high level. Just getting that red AP was pretty lucky. The board could have been really shy of red. If the board doesn't have a lot of red AP, red tiles showing, you're not going to get a red match, and you're not going to get strikes out there. So it could be ugly. You might need to do something like put on certain supports to either help you create strike tiles, like the low-level AI, do things to maybe put on the Flurkin, you know, Chewy. Put on Chewy the Flurkin. That way you could have attack tiles feeding off of the strike tiles you're potentially making for more damage every turn. These are just options you could have. Let's move on to the next one. One more here. Let's see. It's against Doctor Strange, which kind of called it. I didn't want to say Clea so hard, but at the same time, I didn't want to, like, you know, I didn't want to be wrong on that, but whatever. Doctor Strange here has been in the game a long time. His 5-star hasn't been, I mean, it's been around almost the same, but like he's one of the earlier 5-stars in the game. It's been a long time since he's been here, and he's been through what? 2 sets of buffs? If I remember correctly, I could be off. This Doctor Strange is definitely a little underpowered. He's got a 1-2-1 build. When he came into the game so long ago, it was still such a time that the passive of doing a counterattack with that yellow, just because the enemy fired an active power, was a big deal. We fought goons all the time, and the only way to really do damage to each other was by firing active powers. You know, people like 3-star Luke Cage still mattered with that singular projectile. Certain builds were like so crazy limited back then because we only had such a roster and character power was kind of limited. It was much lower down, a lot more smaller than it is now. Nowadays, Doctor Strange is, I don't want to say he's laughed at, but he just isn't the same. People do passive damage left and right. Getting him to fire off that yellow passive counterattack doesn't happen often. What is nice about him is that his newest buff made his blue, which is a stun, cost only like 6. Now it doesn't stun as long as it used to, but still it only costs 6. So you can get up in stunning rather quickly here. And his blue makes a countdown that also, depending on the color you choose, reduces that AP in the enemy's AP stock. It's good stuff. The purple at the 5-star level causes it's a passive that makes the Eye of Agamotto show up on the board. It's an actual physical tile, can't be moved, it's kind of locked in place, and it actively every turn will remove a strike, attack, protect tile. If there are no such tiles on the board, it generates a little bit of blue, purple, blue and yellow AP for the team. Had to think about that. His yellow isn't just a passive for counterattacking, it's also an active that you could fire off at a little pricier cost than the blue, but it's basically just a nuke. So, something else to use that yellow AP on that he's generating from his Eye of Agamotto. He's not a hard character to fight. It's just, when you fire off your abilities, make sure you can eat the flames of Faltine that fly back in your face. There's a lot of F's. Anyways. Okay. Let's get into it. Same plan as before. Just get some red and get into it. I'm going to see if we can get enough black and or green so we can see those powers get used. No guarantees, though. Unfortunately, his red's just strong enough to do the work on its own. Hey, Doctor. Now, I'm going to try to avoid some of the reds, just because I want to get the greens and blacks up and rolling, but I don't see a black match or a green match at the ready. Well, we can line up a black one, and pretty much he's not going to take it. There's his Eye of Agamotto. He's going to start building AP if I don't start making tiles. So since that tile's out there, he's not going to generate AP next turn. Instead, the Eye is going to eat that tile, and, well, he can make AP through a match like anyone else, but the Eye won't make him AP. Or not. Why is this doing that? Oh, he's under-leveled. Tricky. Okay. Doctor Strange would normally remove a strike tile, but this one's under-leveled at 1-2-1. So because it's such a low level, it's ignoring strike tiles, which is kind of funny because that's what Blade makes. So good job, computer. You made a build where the devs made a build here that Blade can't get past. I need green, I need black. Let's get that black. This might hurt. He's going to do that blue stun here in a second. It's going to suck. Let's get that. Thankfully, our match damage is pretty decent with all that, all those strikes out there. And he matched it away. What a jerk. And he's got enough blue to do it again next turn. We're just going to have to survive the onslaught if we want to see this come to fruition, right? Okay, there's a green and a black match ready, but he's going to stun us. And nuke us. And stun us. It's a one-turn stun, but it's cheap, and he builds the AP passively. Look how much damage he's done. One-turn stuns. I'm draining my AP just little by little. We've got him on the ropes, but he He's annoying, to say the least. Look at all this. He's fighting. Dang. We're still not going to get... We have so much strike tile power out there that we're still going to win, I think, and not get to see his black or his green power fired off. One more match and we got it. And here it is. We could fire the black now, but he's dead. Oh well. It's kind of ridiculous. I guess I could have lowered down my red strength to see his green and black, maybe. But man, he's a little annoying though. You saw how often he could stun at this. I get that this could be annoying for you. You might want to do something, maybe a support that would have a chance at stealing AP, but you'd have to fire off a power. Probably not so much, right? Because you'd have to actually actively fire something. His abilities cost a little bit of AP, right? You could try Black Widow batons to get a small chance of stunning him so he could just, I don't know, stay still for a minute while you work. But overall, probably just stuff with more strike tiles. Kind of like how I got the win there, just his strike tiles. If you had more strike tiles like low-level AI, supports that just add on damage would just help a ton. They would just help out in the end. Taskmaster Sword comes to mind. Can you even do that? I don't even know if he could use the Taskmaster Sword now that I think about it. Let's see. Equipped to any character, so yeah. And that would help, because that one does extra damage to heroes, and supporter characters' powers deal extra damage, so the Bloodlust would hit harder if you got enough red AP. Yeah, that's a good one. So anyways, but if you need any further help, don't be afraid to drop me a line, put it on YouTube, Reddit, Discord, whatever. Just look me up. My name's the same everywhere. I'll be happy to help you out. But that is our Crash the Titans for this week. I know it's late in the week. I usually do it a lot earlier. Life has been just throwing a lot of curveballs at me lately. Sorry about that. But I gotta get going. I got my little girl is a friend on over and having a sleepover, so I don't know how I got away with this much silence. Let's just call it right here before stuff happens, okay? Thanks for joining me. I'll see you all later. Bye.